Welcome to episode 10 of the Dom Joseph podcast. I haven't seen you guys in about 21 days, but today I want to talk to you guys about how Avengers Endgame impacted my personal life, cold showers, the new diet I've actually been approaching to doing in my life, and then also a big thing I want to talk about today is people hanging on to a crutch. A lot of people like to do this in life, and this is a really big topic I really want to hit on because a lot of people will hang on to something just because they're scared of the reality that's next. So let me start off, though, by telling you guys I loved Avengers Endgame. It was amazing. Here's the thing. I slightly put Infinity War probably a little bit above it because the suspense was a little more, like a thing. Major spoilers alert. I don't want to if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, please try to watch that before you listen to this podcast because I might spoil it a little bit. But I'm going to try my best to not really give you exactly what happened. But here's the thing. There's 18 movies building up to this movie. That's, Iron Man, Thor, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and I know I'm Spider-Man. I know I'm missing a couple more, I believe. But I know all those have their certain aspects, and they have multiple movies. Like Iron Man has 3, Thor has 3, Black Panther has 1, Doctor Strange is 1, and Tom Holland and Spider-Man had 1 prior to Infinity War. And the thing is, Captain America, goddamn, I am so sorry for all my Captain America fans out there. But yeah, here's the thing. Avengers Endgame, I was building up, the hype for it, and I was kind of scared because I was just like, man, I'm really hyping up this movie, and I'm going to let myself down by how much I'm hyping this movie up. Ever since Infinity War happened and Thanos snapped his fingers, that whole year was like, oh shit, I need to get caught up. And then I started watching the movies, a couple months prior, and then I got really into it. It got to the point where I was like, damn, I should probably start reading the comics. But then I told myself not to get the comics yet just because I would probably spend money on them, a lot of money, because I'm that person who wants to collect a lot of things. That's why I played Pokemon as a kid, on the games. Not so much the cards. I played Yu-Gi-Oh! As a kid. UB Funkies I collected too for all my UB Funky fans. I don't know if anyone out there even really played that other than my group of friends and cousins. But to summarize, how Avengers Endgame impacted me. Avengers Endgame impacted me by basically making me want to be as happy as I was every day. Okay, hold on, let me restart. Avengers Endgame impacted my personal life by me wanting to be as happy as I was for that movie every day in my life. That day on Thursday, the opening night, I was so excited, and everything else I was doing was just leading up to that. I went to school, I worked out, I did everything that I was supposed to that day, and then I was super excited to go watch this. I was excited to have something to do that I really was had passion for. And I'm not saying I don't have passion for working out in classes, but I wanted to put that same happiness level into life. So what I decided to do is I started to change myself, and I kind of based myself on Thor. And a lot of people may be like, you don't look anything like Thor and stuff like that, but that's not really the point. Thor has this confidence, and he has this I guess I've been influenced by a superhero. Chris Hemsworth to himself, he's a really cool guy. I've been doing some research on him and his workouts and stuff, and he's pretty cool. But it's also influences from other places in my life too. That's not all coming from just Avengers Endgame. But Avengers Endgame was the thing that kickstarted me, Here's the thing. I'm sitting there, I'm watching the movie, I'm loving it. It's the shortest 3 hours of my life. We're in a nice theater, and, people are going crazy for this movie. And I walk out, and I'm like, wow, what is the next thing I'm going to get really excited for? I'm almost kind of bummed out. And I'm just like, well, I gotta get my shit together because I want to be as excited as I was today for every week, for every day I start out the week. So let me grab this right here. It's actually just right on my fridge. This is my now schedule. This is what I started to do after I watched the movie. So for those of you guys who are not watching the video version, this is the first video version of the podcast. What I do is every Sunday I plan out my week. And I know this is like oh, that's cheesy. But dude, once you start doing that, you start getting excited to do these things. Like I even have like doing laundry on Sundays, and I'm like excited to do it and get ready for it. It's just one of those things that you get ready for. And then also after this movie, so these are basically all the changes I've made in my life in the past 3 weeks. And this is why I've been so darn busy, and I just couldn't wait to share it with everyone who listens. So what I do every day now is I wake up at 7 a.m. and I work out. But before I work out, I start journaling like my dreams. I write the dreams down in this journal and just kind of say like, hey, this is what happened. Most of the nights I'm like, I don't fucking remember what I even dreamt about, to be honest. Like I'll even write that, like, today marks the day I wanted to be like Thor, just like him. I just want to have as much confidence, blah, blah, blah. And then I go into LDN, which is last night's dream, or LND, last night's dream. And then I go, to be honest, I can't even remember my dream, but I do remember waking up at this blank amount of time to get water. Like it's just like a little shit like that, because I kind of believe in the thing that like people don't forget things, they just forget to write them down, or not forget to write them, they just don't write them down. And I was just like, well, maybe if I write down some things and I could see what's going on in my life that day, maybe I could figure out why I was upset. So I also do today's grades on things. So I will like every day. So let me just run through a random day with you. On 5/3, I had a dream that I accidentally ran over a dog, and, I was just going off this just random ass, and then today my cousin Rob came over, we hung out, and then and then I was like, okay, this was today's grade, blank. And then I go to another day where I'm like, damn, dude, today was kind of a shitty day. Like I just kind of sat around and just watched TV all day, and I gave myself a D that day. But the days I decided to do more things and be productive, I always have a higher grade, like every time. So I wake up at 7 a.m. First thing I do is, draw in my dream log journal, grown-up diary, whatever you want to, call it. Workout, dream log journal thing. Make breakfast. I'm a horrible person about making, breakfast in the morning. But, 3 weeks ago I said, I'm going to start just cooking breakfast because it's easy calories to get in the morning, and I'm also trying to gain weight with my workout program. So what I do is this is my breakfast every morning. It may be a little like vanilla for most of you guys, but I have 4 eggs, 26 almonds, because that's a serving size according to my this big ass bag of almonds I have. I have a big ass glass of water in the morning, and then I have a banana, and then I have toast with peanut butter on it, and that breakfast alone is 980 calories, and that just kickstarts my day. I'm able to get up. I walk everywhere now. I'm fortunate enough to be in a place where the school I go to is walking distance, and everything around me is walking distance. So I just walk everywhere, and I get sun that way. I'm able to just kind of clear my head and listen to music. I can listen to podcasts and that. So that's just that. And then I go to class, and I make sure I pack a lunch before I leave too. When you pack a lunch, you don't have to. I haven't gone out and bought food since like last weekend, and that was one time. But usually I would buy lunch every day at school. I'd get a burrito and two quesadillas, and I would just drink the water I had on me in my water bottle. But $10-20 a day is pretty expensive. 5 times a week, that's $50, and you do that 4 times in a month, that's $200 a month on just food that I could have just bought myself. So I start packing a lunch. I go to all my classes now. I try to, sometimes I miss classes. I'm not going to lie to you guys and be like, I'm a perfect student and I never miss a class. Like I miss classes sometimes, and I'm working on that to go every time. But sometimes I'll be like, man, I got to really focus on math right now rather than my environmental science. It's just how things go. So after that, I picked up an instrument. I've been playing guitar since, I was at EVCC, so that was 2016 summer. And, you know, I'm not going to say I'm not playing guitar, but I've started playing piano. I went and bought a keyboard 3 weeks ago. No, April 1st is when I bought it. So that was a little bit prior to 3 weeks ago. And I love it. Like, there's some songs on the piano I can't really play on guitar, or that sound better on piano than they do on guitar. So I thought piano would be a great thing to kind of just ease my mind, and just another thing I needed to add to my life because I just wasn't busy enough, I guess. And that's the thing, though. Like, there comes a moment in a time where sometimes I go, maybe I am overwhelming myself a little bit here with all the shit I do, because I'm busy from 7 a.m. every day to 9 p.m. And, you know, obviously some of these things I don't have to do, but it's just the way I wrote it down. And, you know, I want to do it. And it's relaxing. And it's not only relaxing to come home after having a long ass day like that, but it makes me want to just go harder the next day. So after I walk, you know, before I walk home, actually, I go to the piano hall they have at my school. And it's just this big ass hallway that looks like a jail cell. And actually, before I called my mom, because in this like piano room, it looks like a jail, like you're like a jail room almost, and it looks like a prison door. And I called my mom and I FaceTimed her and I said, "Mom, I only got one call, and I thought I'd call you." And she, you know, I FaceTimed her and she's like, "What?" And I was just like, "It's just the piano room," but I just thought I'd give you guys that little insight of, you know, that was kind of funny. But so I play piano for an hour a day. And, you know, I just got to the point where I could play with two hands. I'm just like, you know, just like I used to only be able to do it with one hand. But now I could play with two hands, and I'm playing my favorite songs. And Pursuit of Happiness was obviously the first song I learned. It was the first song I learned on guitar, so I had to kind of do the same thing on piano. I've also learned some other like hip-hop type beats and stuff. But I really want to be like the salon music kind of guy. Like that music's really cool. Like the bar fight kind of stuff. That's really interesting to me. But obviously, you know, hip hop is like where my heart is, and most of the time. So come to that when I'm doing piano. That's around 4:00 before I head home. And then I also do 2 edits for 2 other podcasts. I get those out of the way. And that usually takes about 2 hours, 1 hour each. And then I walk home, which is about a 35-minute walk. Then I look over my homework, play guitar at home, because I don't bring my guitar on campus, because I'm not trying to be the guy to like flex on everyone that I play guitar, at least not yet. Because if someone's like, "Hey, do you play guitar?" I'm like, I could play a couple songs, but not like, "Oh yeah, I'll play that right now for you." It's not like that, you know. But and then now what I do is I put my phone at the other side of the room when I go to bed. So what I would usually do is I would go to bed and I'd have my phone right next to me. So what this does is it lets me get an hour off my phone before I go to sleep, and I read something. So I started reading more books and stuff to kind of just enhance my vocabulary a little more, and really just kind of just in general just help reading level. Just kind of sometimes I stutter on words in class, and, you know, just reading random books that I'm interested in, even if it's not necessarily how to solve an equation book. It's just like a story. I'm reading Steve-O's book right now. It's a really good book, and it really helps me. So, but then putting the phone across the room at night, it basically says I'm not getting on my phone unless, you know, someone calls me. That's the only, if you want to get a hold of me at night, you just call me, because then I'll answer it. But if you text me, I probably won't answer it. Then in the morning, when I wake up, I have to get up and turn off the alarm. It fucking blows in the morning to get up and do that, but it sucks. So to kind of loop back around, every morning now, though, I take a cold shower. And believe me, I know waking up at 7 in the morning is hard enough, and then to add on a cold shower, it makes it even worse. But it's helped my skin better. It's helped my mental, like, happiness. Like, because when you get in a cold shower, you're just... your showers are limited too. You're not using as much water because you're not going to want to be in there as long. So you're inhaling and you're getting oxygen to your brain that way. And, you know, you get out and you feel like relieved, and you feel like, wow, I'm doing something that people aren't doing. And that helps your confidence level. So when I'm like, all right, I just took a cold shower, not a lot of people are probably doing that, and then you feel good about yourself. It's like The Rock feels good about himself because not a lot of people can do what The Rock do, but if I can limit to that and take a micro part of that and go, I know not a lot of people are doing cold showers, and I can feel good about myself instantly, make breakfast and go about my day, already have my workout out of the day, I already feel amazing. And it's one of those things that I wish everyone would be able to do, and everyone has the ability to do it, but not a lot of people want to wake up alone, take a cold ass shower. But if I had a challenge to any of you guys on episode 10 of this podcast, I would love for you guys to try out a cold shower in the morning. You know, I know people have taken cold showers. I'm not saying no one's ever done it, but try to do it on a weekly basis every morning at 7 a.m. And just because you're taking a cold shower doesn't mean you don't use soap, too. A lot of people, cold showers, substitute that. No, you still got to use soap. You still got to use shampoo. And just because you're in there that quick doesn't mean I'm just in there just sitting under the water waking up. Like, I'm doing the same shit, but just, like, really fast and, you know, not as, like, I'm not just sitting there, like, massaging my head under the hot water. Because when I would get out of a hot shower, I'm not saying I'm never going to take one again, but, like, my skin would feel, like, pruned and shit because I'd be in there for a half hour. Like, it was, like, how long I'd be in the shower, too, was getting annoying. I could be in there a half hour. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys and be like, I'm a man. I'm only in there for 5 minutes or less. You know, well, now I am. But with hot showers, I'll be honest with you, I was in there for a long time, sometimes longer than, like, my mom would be, like, when we were kids. She would, like, come in and, like, bang on the door and be like, fucking get out. You know, obviously she didn't sound like that. She would just tell us to get out. She didn't sound that mean, but, you know, it's just, you know, you got to dramatize a little bit of story sometimes, I guess. But and then I just go and tell you the truth right after. But that's basically what I've been up to this past 3 weeks. You know, I've been journaling, cold showers, Avengers Endgame, new workouts. Smoothies have been a thing. I've always been kind of doing smoothies. I don't know if I've really gone on that tangent, but every morning I will have every morning, if I work out in the morning, which has been every day, I get a kale smoothie, and it's 1,000 calories. It's actually coconut oil, two things of Yoplait yogurt. That's kind of makes it kind of sweet. Kale, I use 3 cups of kale, frozen fruit, and orange juice as my base, or cranberry juice. And that's an easy 1,000 calories because coconut oil packs a lot of calories for those of you guys who don't know that. 2 tablespoons of coconut oil is like minuscule in a smoothie, and that's like 180 calories. And if you're trying to gain weight, healthy calories, that is a perfect way to do it. Another healthy alternative I've substituted out in my diet. I don't like mayonnaise, but I really like tuna fish sandwiches. And I recently was looking up ways on how to have a better tuna fish sandwich, and everyone's like, "Oh, use Miracle Whip, use this." And I'm like, I hate mayonnaise. What can I? So I was like, maybe Greek yogurt would work. So I started using Greek yogurt as my base for like the mayonnaise, and I use mustard and then pickle juice and salt and pepper to kind of make it, you know, savory a little bit. And it tastes 10 times better than mayonnaise. It tastes fresher. It's better for you. I think Greek yogurt's better than mayonnaise. I couldn't really tell you, but I feel definitely better from it. But here's the main point I really wanted to hit on out this podcast. That is basically what I've been up to. So if I haven't like reached out to you, don't take offense. I'm just working on the purpose right now. I got about 32 days until I'm back on summer break, and I can't wait. Like, you know, home is always going to be there, though. Home is always going to be there. Right now, I'm on my purpose. I got to focus, put my head down, and just kind of work right now. But that's what this podcast is for. And then same with Weekly Take. Weekly Take has been weekly every week, but a lot of the times, the thing is with Weekly Take, I know I'm jumping all over the place. I apologize. But the thing is with Weekly Take, and for those of you who don't know what Weekly Take is my sports podcast I host every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I basically, with that podcast, I'm given stories. I'm given if LeBron has a bad night, and I could talk about that. I'm given a certain team loses. I'm given a certain guy gets caught with drugs and, you know, as a sports team member or, you know, a sports athlete. I'm given those stories. With DJP, I'm not really given these stories, and that's why these are a little more authentic, and these are a little more like about myself directly. And why should anyone want to listen to what Dom has to say? Like a lot of people who are listening to this right now just know me personally, and they just kind of want to know what I'm up to. But I was recently asked that by a teacher, and it hit me because I was like, wow, why do people want to, why would someone want to listen to me talk about what I'm up to? And I didn't think about it. I thought about it for a couple of days, and I said, you know what? I want people to listen to me the same reason people listen to Ellen, the same people listen to Oprah, because they're listening to them and what they're about. And that's what I want to be about. I want someone to be like, I want to know what he's up to, because obviously I'm not going to say Oprah and Ellen weren't like the most interesting people when they first started, but when they first started, what's going on? Like, why do everyone... They weren't watching for a story. They weren't watching for a giveaway. They weren't watching for this. They were watching for Oprah. And I want to get to that point where people are like, I'm watching for him. Same with Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has his MMA experience, and he has Joe Rogan experience. People listen to Joe Rogan experience to see what he's up to and who he's interviewing. And that's exactly what I want people to do when they listen to me. Also, another thing I'm up to, I have a podcast workshop coming up this summer. I will be helping at WSU Native Center put on a podcast workshop. I'm excited to share my story and about what I've been up to. I'll give you guys an update when that comes back. Finally, I should say, back to the main point I really wanted to hit on before I kind of went on that tangent again. This is like the biggest point in the thing. Like, there's not much on here, but like that's the longest one for those of you watching the video. For those who aren't watching the video, I just kind of showed like my overview of what I got going. So this is something I'm just going to spit it out now. People hang on to a crutch in life, and it has occurred to me that people do this because they're actually afraid to heal from their own identity, because they're so surrounded by this trauma their whole life, and they don't know a way out of it. And it's terrifying. So let's just say, for instance, I was clipped by this thing my whole life, and it soon became part of my identity, and I don't want anyone to, ridicule for me about it, so I rep it. And you rep this kind of bad thing that has happened to you your whole life. And someday you go to therapy, you start, figuring more about yourself, or, you don't need therapy to do so, but you don't have this anymore. And that is terrifying to some people because they don't have a crutch to fall back onto. You know what I mean? This is a big problem. And I'm not saying I'm not like this, because I've definitely done this, and that's why I'm talking about it. But to bring it back to that, if this clip is there, I could be like, oh, the reason I am the way I am is because of this. And you hang on to this non-problem or this trauma that this kid pushed you down at the fucking playground set, and you hang on to it. I was bullied. I had a bad childhood. I had this and this. You have something to point at. But as soon as this is gone and this crutch is gone, people are fucking lost, and they don't know what to do with themselves. And that's what I'm trying to, if you have a problem, I'm not saying you can get over it like as easy as getting rid of a clip off your shirt. But what I'm saying, as soon as you acknowledge it, and as soon as you know that, hey, this clip that's on my shirt now, it's there, and you acknowledge it, and you know why it's there. That's the first part of healing. And a lot of people will use drugs or alcohol. A lot of people will use getting with a certain amount of people to occupy their mind because they're actually lonely. There's not a lot of things that are out there that are as dangerous as some of those things that I've just listed. Your dangerous thing could be watching TV all day. Anything you could really do is dangerous in a sense. You could eat a lot. You could socialize too much to the point where you don't even know what you're doing. You're just talking. And I'm kind of rambling on myself, I know that, but what I'm saying is, what I want people to know is that, like, you can unclip your trauma, and you don't have to hold on to it to define who you are. Because as soon as you start defining yourself by your traumas, and I'm not saying that would have been what I done, because I kind of when I was younger, I would hang on to things like, oh, people made fun of me for being short. And that was my number one thing to fall back on all the time. Oh, I was short. I know. Or I'm native. I know. And yeah, you do know, but you don't need to brag about it. You know what I mean? Like, I guess that's really what I'm saying is people who brag about their traumas, it's like, it's not a pissing race, dude. You don't got to brag about who had it harder. And I get that's like the new rap, and the way rap is kind of, oh, I came from this and I came from this. And some athletes have some stories. Yes, you did. But, just because some guy in the suburbs didn't have it bad doesn't mean he necessarily isn't worth your listening story, because everyone has a story. And that's basically kind of why I have this podcast. It's basically for people to just come tell a story. I don't care if you're, Bill Gates or you're a guy off the street and you just want to be on my show. And you just want to be like, hey, man, like today on the streets was kind of fun, or today on the streets was fucking hard. That's what this is for. That's what this communication is for. And I'm really glad I could kind of get that part out of me, because there's been times where I've hung on to my trauma too. And, I'm getting to the point now where I could finally get rid of it and truly know, like, okay, I don't need to fall back onto that. And it's exhausting to try to hide from it and run from it too. That's another reason why I'm saying, cut it out, because say you're 35 years old and you're still hanging on to the, well, my parents got divorced card. Dude, you're 35 years old now. That was years ago. You got to be you now. You got to be focused on what you're set to do. And sometimes if you got to fucking occupy yourself by starting a job, starting a business, learning an instrument, starting a new show even, that's not bad to do. And, just anything that occupies your mind from this toxicity of, am I good enough traits, or am I not doing well enough? Because that could be really fucking exhausting to just constantly be on your own ass and just be like, damn, dude, you're not doing shit. You're not doing this and this. It gets to the point where you're just like, damn, I really am like shit. If you start telling yourself that, it's not motivating at all. It's actually the exact opposite. You just sit there eating cheese balls, fucking watching Netflix literally all day. Like, there's nothing wrong with starting a new show, but as soon as you start sitting there with cheese balls, not socializing with anyone, not showering, you got a problem. And everyone copes with things differently. And it was just the way I was raised, to occupy myself and kind of just stay busy. And maybe that's why when I'm going through a lot of shit, I, make a list on what I got to do. And on this list every week, I put goals I set out to do. So go to every class, no eating out, no soda, limit sugar, and love myself. Those were my goals last week, and even if it's not like I'm going to go to every class, I at least try to tell myself I should. So yesterday, for y'all though, who are big Guardians of the Galaxy fan, I painted the awesome mixtape. I thought I'd flex that out today. For those of you guys who are just listening, if you guys saw it on my Instagram, but if you go and watch the video on YouTube, you'll see the painting in the background. I'm going to move real quick for like a couple of seconds. That's that. I'm a big Guardians of the Galaxy fan. I love that, and I love the soundtrack even more. So that's why this mixtape really stuck out to me, and I really wanted to paint it. I have a couple cousins who are really big Guardians of the Galaxy fans, and I might just give it to one of them, because it's, I think it's a perfect piece, and I love it in my house, but I would rather give it to someone too. It just would mean more to be like, wow, thank you, instead of having it myself. So I might give it to one of my friends or cousins, but I thought I'd, show it off to all you Avenger fans. It kind of fit the theme today. Big Chris Pratt fan. Yeah, so that is basically all I really got for you guys on episode 10 today. I want to thank you guys so much for listening. I plan on having some more people on the show in this upcoming weeks. And a big announcement I want to tell you guys, for those of you guys who are listening, Season 2 of the Dom Joseph podcast will start up after this next episode. So I hope to have a little different approach, just by like maybe possibly having an intro and outro, maybe more structured stories, more structured schedule. But right now, about every 2 to 3 weeks, this is when DJP comes out. I'm always going to have micro content for this page, and it's never going to stop. But I just want you guys to know season 2 is currently in the works. I'm figuring out who's going to be on it when I'm back home. I got a lot of people who would love to come talk on the show. And if anything ever seems like it's taking a long time and I've given up, that is completely the opposite. I'm putting a lot more emphasis on season 2 this year. And I can't wait to show you guys what season 2 and who's going to be on it. Weekly Take is going to be continuing every Thursday because I got to keep up with sports. The thing is with Weekly Take, if I miss a story a day, I already feel behind. So that's why, I've almost wanted to start doing Weekly Take every other day, but I can't do that with my schedule. So I do it every Thursday, and I just try to give you guys the best. But other than that, this has been episode 10, and I want to thank you guys so much for listening. Have a fantastic day.